Listen up, my friend. If you've ever said to yourself, why is weight loss so hard? Why can't weight loss be easier? Then today's episode was created just for you. You are listening to Weight Loss Made Real, and this episode is number 229. I'm your host, Master Weight Loss Coach and author, Cookie Rosenblum. Today and every Tuesday, I will be your coach and your guide to help you end your emotional eating and lose that extra weight. If you just found me, welcome. And if you're a regular listener, welcome back. This is where we talk about your habit of emotional eating, which is the main focus in all the work I do. Here is where coaching meets psychology and psychology meets brain science. And this is where your problem ends. So get comfy and get ready to be coached. Before we begin, I want to remind you that this episode of Weight Loss Made Real is brought to you by the Freedom Group. And the Freedom Group, if you're listening in real time, well, we're open for new members right now, and today is the last day. Today, my friend. So here's the difference between the podcasts and the Freedom Group. These podcasts are created by me for you to give you new concepts to think about, to help you understand why you do what you do and why you don't do what you wish you could. The Freedom Group is where real change takes place with me as your coach. It's a monthly membership for smart women just like you who are ready to stop overeating from stress and habit and even happiness and learn how to make space for more authentic happiness in their life. You can learn more today about the Freedom Group in the show notes of this episode or go to weightlossmadereal.com/group and I will see you there. All right, let's get started with your coaching session. Today we're working on this question: how can weight loss be easier? We're going to talk about what makes weight loss feel so hard, and does it have to be hard? And what would need to change to make it easier? And as you could imagine, I have a few ideas for you, quite a few. Weight loss is a complicated subject. And if you've been listening to me, you know my style is to take complicated subjects apart and look at them piece by piece, shine the light on them, put that magnifying glass on them, and make them easy and make them doable. So let's dive in now. What makes weight loss hard in the first place? Well, one of the things is thoughts of deprivation. Well, if I lose weight, that means I'm going to walk around hungry all the time and I won't be able to eat, and I won't be with other people who are eating, and I'll feel different and I'll feel separate. Does this sound familiar to you? Have you ever said these things to yourself? These things are not true, and I'm going to tell you what will make it easier. Another thing that makes it harder is feeling like you're alone in the world, like you're alone in the struggle, like you're different, you're the exception, no one else is suffering but you, and that doesn't feel good. Another thing that makes it hard is just not believing in yourself, right? You look at all the evidence that you've never been able to do this before, and you assume that your past predicts your future, which is, by the way, not true. You might not know the latest science behind your habits. And if you don't understand why you do what you do, you'll be very frustrated all the time and you'll think it's you. You'll think there's something wrong with you. And you just do the same thing over and over and over again. One of the things that's missing that makes it hard is not having somebody call you out on what you're doing in a nice way, not in a mean way, but to say, hey, why are you doing that? Why are you thinking that? A lot of you don't even realize that you have a choice about what you think. So there's no reality check. And you may be focusing mainly on what to eat, and that's it. And if you haven't been able to stick to any diet that tells you exactly what to eat and when and how much, then you know there's got to be more to it than what to eat. And if you're thinking that you're the exception to all the rules and nothing works for you, that makes it hard because you have no belief that you can change, and nothing happens without belief. We don't just randomly do things and succeed. We try things and we cultivate a belief in ourselves that keeps pushing us forward. So these are some of the reasons why you may find weight loss very challenging, right? Does it have to be so hard? No. But you need to stop listening and do something. You need to do something different than you've been doing it. So you need to see what's working, see what's not working, and take a leap of faith in a program or a person and in yourself. You need to clearly decide, hey, I'm going to stop doing the same thing over and over again and keep my fingers crossed and praying, expecting different results. It doesn't work, right? We want to deal with reality, what works and what doesn't. So we know that weight loss feels very hard for you. I know that it doesn't have to be hard, but let's dive in now for the rest of this session into talking about all the different things that could make it easier. So I'm not going to number them. There's a lot of them. I'm not going to give alphabet names to them. I want you to just think and maybe listen to this again when you're sitting down, and you could take notes and jot down what applies to you. Because I know that you can't change everything I'm going to mention, but if you pick one or two and don't just listen, but take action on it, that's what will make it easier. That's what will make you see results, get motivated, get excited, and not give up. So what would need to change to make it easier? All right. I want you to think that you need to understand how women who don't diet, how do they eat? How do they know when to eat? How do they know what to eat and when to stop? These women are natural eaters. Being like them, not the kind of people they are, the kind of eaters they are, that is your goal. Most of us look for diets and then we just try to be an excellent A-plus dieter. But natural eaters aren't dieters. They don't think about it so much. They don't have to write everything down. They don't rate their hunger. They just are connected to themselves and they know what they need. So your goal is to start thinking like a natural eater, not a great dieter. You also would really benefit, and things would be easier, if you knew what creates your moods. Whether you're happy or sad or nervous or confident or insecure, it's not random. It comes from your thinking. And you've heard me talk about thinking and moods and feelings and emotions a lot. You need to know yourself. That means knowing what creates your moods so that you're not afraid of the uncomfortable ones and you stop trying to escape uncomfortable emotions with food. Now, I know this sounds like a totally different thing than how many grams of carbs do I get, right? But if you pick a gram of carbs that somebody told you to eat per day, but you're still driven to eat when you're in a bad mood, you're never going to solve the problem unless you figure out where the bad mood comes from. Another shift that I want you to think about is learning to take care of you. Comforting yourself, calming yourself, celebrating. Now, food can be a beautiful part of your life, and it can be pleasurable and delicious, but it's not to solve an emotional problem. It's for hunger and a certain amount of pleasure. But you have to get your pleasure from a lot of different areas. If it's mainly from food and you want to cut back on your eating to lose weight, how will that feel? It will feel awful. You will feel deprived. You need to know how to wrap your own arms around yourself and get yourself through a hard time without a tray of brownies or whatever your food is. Now, this means that we're talking about big shifts, right? But you don't have to change your whole life. You're mainly starting with changing your brain. You're changing the way that you think, and you're starting to look at the world through a new model, through new eyes. Once you understand how your brain works, how your mind works, you'll see that there's no emotion to be afraid of. There's nothing that you have to escape with food. You need to make decisions. clear decisions about what you're doing now and exactly what needs to change. Without clarity, it doesn't matter what you do because you'll be doing the wrong thing. You have to know why you need to do something and then exactly what you're doing. Not just, what do I need to eat to lose weight? You have to make a plan. And perspective is really important, right? Long haul and short haul. How do you see yourself right now in this moment when you have an urge to eat everything because you're tired and it's the end of the day? But there's another perspective, and that's the long haul, the wider view of your whole life. How do you want to be? What kind of person do you want to be in your life? Not just related to your weight and food, but how do you want to show up in the world? So you're going to weigh instant gratification with true happiness, within the moment, with the big picture of life. And when you understand where your perspective comes from, it will be so much easier for you to make smart decisions in the moment that benefit the big picture. Another thing that helps make weight loss easier is support. Knowing that you're not alone. Being with other women who are not afraid to share the same doubts and fears and worries that you have, and for you to see, oh, this is how they solve their problems. This is what they do. There's nothing wrong with them, so maybe there's nothing wrong with me. Learning how to lose weight in an easier, kinder, softer way involves learning how to see yourself differently. Not as a flawed person, not as somebody who there's something wrong with, you're broken, not as the one exception in the world who can't do this, and not as the imperfect woman in a perfect world. The world is not perfect. No one you see is perfect. I am far from perfect, but you want to be the best flawed person that you can be in your own life. You want to be a person who's doing the best that she can, who is worthy right now today, no matter what the scale says you weigh, no matter what size jeans you have, no matter how tight your pants are. It doesn't matter. You don't have to earn a seat at the table. You already have one. But I want you to feel good enough about yourself to step up and take that seat and take the opportunities that the world offers you without being overwhelmed with thoughts and worries and plans about weight loss. There are so many more interesting things to think about once you have solved this problem. In order to do all the things that we're talking about, it helps to have a basic understanding of your brain and your mind and what creates habits. Know that, that lower brain that we've talked about so much is the part of your brain that controls simple habits. And it's going to keep giving you urges to do the things that you've always done. Those thoughts telling you that you have to eat the minute you get home while you're cooking and then have a whole extra dinner, those thoughts are just habitual old junk thoughts. Think of them as junk mail. Think of them as spam. And think of how you delete spam. You don't think about it and worry about it and wonder why it got sent to you. You just recognize it and you delete it. So it really helps to know the difference between those kind of junky thoughts and meaningful thoughts that help you in your life. So this is what we do in the Freedom Group. We have new materials. We make new plans. We help you see your thinking. You have to learn how to fail and keep going because failing is a part of doing anything new. It's not a signal that anything's wrong with the journey or anything is wrong with you. If you've been listening to me for a while, you may be learning little things, but are they changing you? Is it enough for you to create real change and not just listen, get excited, and then do the same thing again and again? Real change is different than faking it. Faking it is like wearing the mental equivalent of Spanx, where you pretend to be together, but you're struggling under the surface all the time. Let's get rid of the Spanx and the mental Spanx and really just feel like you can be yourself wherever you are. And there's nothing to hide. There's nothing that shames you. There's nothing that you can't figure out. These are things that need to change for you to solve the weight issue. changing from the inside out. Eat, think, love. Eating like a natural eater, learning how to manage your mind, and learning what role self-care plays in your life. So if you've been listening and you have questions, write to me today. My email will be in the show notes. Get more information. Click on the link, weightlossmadereal.com/group, and take a step for yourself. Does weight loss have to be hard? It's challenging, right? Because it has so many parts. But it doesn't have to be so hard. Weight loss can be easier, and I know how to do it. And I'd love to share that with you. All right, my friend, that is it for my coaching session today. And I think today was kind of a tough love session. I want you to focus on that question. How can weight loss be easier? If the answer is something you've heard from me and it's staring you in the face today, do something about it. You know what you need to do. I hope to see you back here next week where we will continue to work on your emotional eating and that habitual overeating step by step until they become something that you used to do, because we know that's your ultimate goal. So for now, this is your Coach Cookie reminding you that as you search for answers, keep it real, just like you, and I'll see you back here next week.